Facebook people, what's happening? YouTube people, what's happening? Well. Today, this is what I am talking about today. I'm I'm going to give tribute and celebration to Ruby Bridges. This little girl right here. This is Ruby Bridges. Okay. Um, I scrolled, of course, through social media, and a couple of people were actually celebrating her, and I thought I would do the exact same thing. Celebrate this 6 year old, which now is 67 years old. Okay. So that's my today Black excellence. Okay. So let me give you a little bit of history that I picked up along the way. And that is that Ruby, in November the 15th of 1960, she was 6 years old. And she was the only and the first Black child to be desegregated into an all white elementary school named William Fritz in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is 1960. I was born in 1960. Okay. She's just a few years older than me. All right. Actually, she is 6 years older than me, or maybe five and something because of the month difference. But yeah, she's not that much older than I am. Okay. And the way that she was treated, because she wanted to go to school, but they didn't want her to go to an all white elementary school back in the 1960s. And if you saw the pictures, and a lot of you, I want you to do some homework on the people that I bring up, uh, that I use for, I want to celebrate or just give tribute to, that I call my Black excellence. I want you guys to go ahead behind me and do homework on your own and look up these individuals that I'm bringing up, that I'm celebrating. And I think that every day of the year, I will find a new Black or brown person to do this with every day. I'm trying not to miss a day if I can help it. I may have to change my hours because I got some plans coming up that may alter my hours, and I'll give you guys the update on the new hours when they present themselves, present itself, or what have you. But anyway, more on little Ruby Bridges. Okay. Um, when she went to the elementary school, of course, as you know, back in those days, that there was not too many teachers willing to teach the little Black child. So there was one teacher amongst all of those teachers was named Miss Barbara Henry. Barbara Henry was her teacher the time that little Miss Rudy Bridges was there, right? And when you hear Miss Bridges talk about Miss Henry, her elementary school teacher in that all white school, when you hear her talk about her, she has nothing but good things to say about her. So first, let me stop and pause and do it the right way. I want to give a round of applause for little Ruby Bridges, that is now 67 years old. Right? I want to give that to her because she endured an awful lot at 6 years old. And it's not like she wanted to do it, she was just thrust into that position. And she held it down very eloquently, I would say. And then I also want to give thanks to Barbara Henry. Okay. Miss Barbara Henry, she did a great job. She had to cross the color line. She had to cross the hate. She had to do all the things that went against the people that were pushing and prompting her to be evil and nasty like they were. And she refused to do that. And she showed little Bridges nothing but love. Showed her, because the way that this child at her age now speaks of Miss Henry, the way that she speaks of Miss Henry now, we have to give thanks to her, because there were a lot of white people back that was just like Barbara Henry, that chose to not follow the grain, that all the hate, because they knew right from wrong. God is blessing that school teacher, I'm pretty sure, blessing her for putting her for risking her life just to teach a little 6 year old the basic learning skills. And she made it fun for her. Miss Ruby, if you let Miss Ruby Bridges speak of it, she made it fun for her. She made it worth going to school because all the other little kids were told not to play with her, not to talk to her. So she was basically alone. They segregated her in the school. They didn't let her go into the cafeteria with the other kids. She had to eat by herself, her and her teacher. They didn't let her go on recess time out to the playground and play with the other kids. They made her stay inside with her teacher. And she had to endure this the whole time. As a little 6-year-old. You look at little 6-year-olds today, man, they act like they lose their little mind if they ain't got their friends with them. But she was very eloquent about how dealing with this. Her parents had to really be like pretty, almost like on point at all times to make sure that little Ruby doesn't do anything that would incite these people no more than they were already incited with hate. A child, what does a child know? And she didn't have no fear. If you look at the pictures, she literally had no fear because she was innocent. She didn't know what was going on, and her parents didn't teach her the fear of what was really going on. But she learned it over time, and she recognized the reasons why. These people outside are acting so nasty and mean. The parents of the kids that she's going to school with were acting mean like the devil himself. Just like a dagnabbit devil. What a little child didn't know the difference. Like her, 6 years old. But she endured that. And God protected her for a purpose. And her foundation actually helps people cross over that hatred line. Her foundation accepts everybody, no matter where you came from. That should teach y'all something. When I say y'all, I'm talking about you racist white people. That should teach y'all something because her parents never taught her hate. And when she grew up watching all of this hate being aimed at her because she wanted to go to school and learn, she still grew up and had a heart. And opened a foundation that would take everybody in and teach them everything they could possibly know about history, about the way it was versus the way it is today. And she has no hate or malice in her heart, but she's a proud Black woman. She's a very proud Black woman. And she stands up for BLM because she understands why they're doing it. It's not twisted in her mind. Her feet are very firmly planted. That's the part. And that's how you teach your children. This is how we're supposed to teach our children. There should be no reason why our little children at that age should be disliking anybody. And if they are, it's because they've been taught that mess at home. Bottom line, because they're innocent little souls. It's a matter of what the grown-ups, the tainted, no good, sinful grown-ups teach them. Is why you can tell almost, not all the time, where little kids come from, what type of home they come from. And you can tell what kind of home she came from, a loving home in a bad time in 1960. Wow. Compared to what we got going on now, what? She come from a beautiful home, mother and father. Okay. And that's little, and I said also, I want to reiterate, if I had not said it, in 1995, Ruby Bridges created the Ruby Bridges Foundation, right? And that foundation actually crossed over the racial lines and just accepts everybody in. Okay. So today's topic, that's Little Miss Ruby. Great job. And today's topic is racism worldwide? Is racism worldwide? Is there another country that we can go to and they're not showing are acting racist against us? Is there? Is there maybe a smaller form of it, but it's not as great as here in the United States? Or is it? Now, the reason why I brought this up is because I had just kind of mentioned it briefly yesterday about the crisis and the war that Ukraine and Russia is literally, as we speak, going through right now. Now, apparently, Russia is the biggest bully we've ever known. Been very unfair and hateful to everybody if you're not Russian. And if they are smiling and trying to be your friend, is because they're trying to get something from you so they can hurt you in the long run. That's how they operate. That's been their motto way back in the Hitler times. And it's now just handed down through Gorbachev and now through Putin. Putin just have a different way, a suave way of literally patting some of us on the back, trying to get the information to destroy us from within. And we're falling for it just like little ignorant children. Children who don't know any better. That's exactly how Putin sees a lot of us. Now, is racism in Russia? I would think so. You don't see many black people over there. And when I say racism, I'm using us as my example because I know how it feels to be treated in a racial way. I know what it feels like because I've had people call me out of my name, the N word, and treated me differently because of my skin tone, or maybe my position that I've had that was above them. Certain comments that I hear, slick, sly comments that they would say just because I had more experience in something that they didn't. They were trying to get involved in it, but I had way more experience. But then they slide these little slick remarks in there. I dealt with that. I did well, actually. Could have been worse, but it wasn't. But I felt it. I know what it's like. Remember, I'm a 1960s baby. And I remember the times that we literally had to look outside of our neighborhood and see a lot of nonsense going on with police and civilians. And then they called in the National Guards. And then some of the crap they were doing as well. But they had rubber bullets back then. But still, the rubber bullets can put your eye out. Can literally put a hole in your head. Can knock your teeth out. Can dislocate your jawbone. Can get wedged beneath your skin if they're close enough, if they shoot you in your stomach. Yeah, those are the type of things that we had to endure back then. And getting beat with billy clubs. The billy clubs are slightly different from how they used to make them. Now they make them small, skinny, with a little piece of steel in the center. Back then they made them like little baseball bats. And they used to whack us with that. Yeah, they treated us like dogs for as long as I can remember here in this country. But it's racism worldwide. You know what I didn't know? When this war broke out in Ukraine, I didn't know that the Ukraine people were actually racist against blacks. Now, y'all know where I'm going with this because y'all seen the videos. Y'all seen the videos just like I've seen the videos. And you want to know something about that? God don't like ugly. Oh, no. Now, how is it that you Ukrainians are being bullied by the biggest bully in the world? Being racially profiled, being mistreated, less than human. The way that Putin decided to run into your country and take it over. Bullied you just like we get bullied here. But you got the gall, the nerve. When you said women and children can leave Ukraine at this wartime. That's what you said. But all the Africans, the students that were stuck there in between the mess between Russia and Ukraine and US, caught in the middle, trying to get out, trying to catch that train going to the border. Oh, but you guys kind of push the black people off, the black women and their little children. And then you let the Ukrainian women get on. But you said all women and children. That's what you said. You didn't specify. You didn't tell them that only the Ukraine women can do this and children, and not the blacks. You didn't say that. So when those black students went there to get their women and children out, you pushed them back. You refused them to go to Poland. You did not want them on the train with the other women of Ukraine and their children. Do you know what that is? Do you know when you do that to people, you know what that is? That's racism. That's racism, Ukraine people. But you want the world to feel kind of sorry for you right now because the big bully is stomping down on you. And I hope y'all believe in God. With a racist way like that, I don't know how much you really believe, but we believe in God. And we know for a fact, God don't like ugly. And when you treat somebody a certain way, then you get treated that way. For you to learn your lesson, there might not be any relief because you had no concern about the black women and children. And you said all women and children can jump on this train to Poland's border. And your men, your soldiers, whoever's on that dagnabbit train, was pushing those black women and children off of the train. I'm upset about that. When I first heard about this Ukraine invasion by Russia, I felt some type of way. Even tears swelled up in my eyes to hear that he's bullying a country smaller than him the way that he's doing it. But things happen for a reason, don't they? Maybe you guys need to be exposed as well. We already knew we know what Putin was or is. And with his evil, devilish thinking, he bullied you guys. And you guys showed your true colors. You showed your true colors. Even at a time of war, you still had the gall, dagnabbit, to be racist against black and brown people. Now, don't you think that changed the perception of you around the world? Because it changed it in me. As soon as I saw those videos, I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Let me do some more homework and see if this is true. And the world is talking about it today. It happened 2 days ago, I think. You pushing them off the dagnabbit train like that and yelling at them like they were wrong trying to get on it? Who in the snap are you? You said, your country said, your leaders said, women and children can get on these trains to safety, but the men had to stay, and those African men was willing to stay. The African men was willing to stay, but they were just trying to get their loved ones out, their women and their children out, and you pushed them back. Yeah, it changed my perception. I feel some type of way about that. I sure did. Some people didn't even wait to see those signs. They just said it's the white man's war. But I gave you the benefit of the doubt and just went, the bully is bullying somebody smaller than him. That's the only way I looked at it. But now I look at it differently. Just like I said, God don't like ugly, right? Anytime I was ugly to somebody, I got it back. Trust that. And I'm still paying for it. And you could best believe, Ukrainians, you gonna get your just desserts for still hanging on to such an evil thing called racism. Yeah, you're no example. You're not exempt from that, but you're going to be an example. Just like every other bully, racist bully out there is going to be twisted into an example on teaching the world how not to be. How not to be. Oh, God don't like ugly. You can best believe that. I know that firsthand. Now, here's my other question. All the channels, the news stations that we listen to, I don't care who it is. I'm not going to start rattling them all off, but we know who we listen to. Why aren't all of them talking about this situation? They're talking about the Ukraine and the Russia's war. They're talking about that. But they're not talking about the racism. When they push those black people off that dagnabbit train, those black women and children off that train, they're not talking about that. Why? Why? Is that too embarrassing to talk about? All right, then. So I guess we can't leave it up to them, right? Guess we, like what I'm doing right now, got to speak about it. Just like it came to me through social media, really. I'm like, wow, look at this. And I had to really keep looking and see if there was any more cases like that. There was 2 major cases, apparently. They didn't even want the black people, all of them, women, children, and men. These are all students. Let's just be clear why they're there. If a lot of black people are like, well, what the heck would they had to be there in the first place? They were there because they were studying. They were going to school. Maybe they could have picked another place, but that probably was the best place for them to go, being that they're from Africa. That's why they were there. So let's stop all that. Well, they shouldn't have been there in the first place. Okay. Maybe they could have afforded somewhere else. Maybe. Then maybe not. Who's to say? Who knows? But they're there. And there's a lot of them. And unfortunately, the true colors of the Ukraine people done came out in desperation. They pushed those black women and children off the train, and they won't allow them in the shelter at night. You know how cold it gets there in Ukraine at night? Extremely cold. Think about 20, 15 maybe at night. And they all have to huddle outside. You know their feet are cold. You know how Africans ain't used to the cold. Bet you they couldn't wait to graduate to get up out of there. But the war came. Yeah. Those images were very vital for us to see. Things happen for a reason, a purpose. Just like we had Trump for 4 years. A lot of people are saying, well, where's God? Where's God? Well, these things happen for a reason. God allows these things to happen for a purpose. The true colors of the Republican Party was shown. Now we know who they truly are. Regardless on all that pretty talk that they try to mask about being patriotic. All that is fake. Now we know. Not all Republicans. I'm always going to give credit to the Lincoln Project Republicans. Because they jumped off board when they realized that this Trump was a mistake. They were very truthful about that, but they just didn't change their party. I respect that. Those are people we can probably sit down across the table and work out deals with. But these other ones who are following Trump and Putin, you can't make no deal with them because they done already sold out America. They done sold us out. I don't care how many times you want to run through that over your head about what kind of president he was for 4 years. And you're going to try to twist it and make it seem like he was a great guy. It's too much facts, too many facts to prove how wicked he really was before he hooked up with Putin as president. He literally tried to open up a way for Putin to get through and run over Ukraine with ease with no interference. He didn't want NATO involved. And there was only one way to do that, is to have the type of president, United States president in there that was going to make sure that happened. And that opened the door wide for who? Putin and his little regime to run through there and nobody say nothing or do nothing. But it didn't quite work that way for him, because Trump, out of all the help that he had to cheat his way in, it didn't work the second time around. We were too nice the first time when he cheated. We just let it be and said, let democracy do its thing. We just didn't even argue, didn't fight. We didn't try to go and recount nothing. We just went with the bull crap lie and the cheat. We put a chin up like this and took it like champions and did that 4 years, complaining all the way. But we got through it. And then when we saw another opportunity, oh, heck to the no, you ain't getting back in there. And now you might as well say goodbye, bye to 2024 election for president, Mr. Dumb Trump dumb. You're not going to get in there, especially out letting everybody know your real colors as far as siding with Putin the way that you are. And you got your cronies doing the same thing. And then Fox News is being investigated right now because of their possible ties to Russia. And Tucker Carlson, he's been parlaying with them as well. That's why he's speaking so highly of Putin. And Judy Giuliani, whatever Giuliani guy, you know, the piss head, you know, he had the dye on his head and it was pissing down the side of his face. That clown, him too, trying to get people to believe that we should accept Russia and Putin. Communist, treasonous. Back in the day, treason was punishable by death. It sure was. Things have changed now. Even if you talk bad about a president, like you trying to hurt him or suggested he should be hurt, there was somebody knocking on your door probably in about an hour or two, or the next day, or they watching you closely, the FBI. They're going to come get you if you talk bad about our sitting president. Now, I ain't got all the greatest things in the world to say about Biden, but he's patriotic, and I respect that. He's supposed to be patriotic. Trump was not patriotic, and you can see that now. You know how many videos I'm seeing now of white people who voted for Trump are saying that they hate his guts because he is a traitor? That is like, wow, y'all just see this now? You guys are seeing it now? We seen it before he became president. We knew what type of man he was, especially if you're from New York. You know what type of man he was, what type of businessman he was, what type of personality he had. We knew all this stuff. But you knuckleheads out in the South didn't even care. You just figure like that's a means for us to come on out with without our sheets on our head no more. And we can run around with our Confederate. He's the man for us. That's all y'all saw was hate. Now you can unveil your hate out loud. That's all you saw. But you didn't see that he was going to stab you in your back and throw you under the bus. All of us got thrown under the bus. All of us. The ones who voted for him and the ones who didn't. We got thrown under the bus because he sold us out to who? Putin, Russia. Just like that. For what? Money. That was his whole concept was or is money over morals. He ain't got morals. So it's all about the money. And you guys were so money struck. The rich man, oh my God, yes, rich Trump, yeah, rich Trump. Y'all were just so suckered up into his money, that he cheated people to get and lied to get and was offered or paid off by Putin. Y'all were so money struck, you voted for that. But patriotism didn't matter. Being a true American was nothing to you, you know? Blue lives didn't even matter after a while. When y'all thought that you was really going to turn things around January the 6th, and it was all going to be in your favor by being barbaric, and then have the nerve to try to blame us, Black Lives Matter thing movement. How do you try to get us in there? Oh yeah, that's right. Y'all seeing like 1 or 2 black people out there, or maybe 3 or 4, right? The ones who got locked up first after it was all over. Those are the first ones that got locked up. And they still in jail probably. A lot of y'all made bail. But because you seen them few, not even a handful of blacks, you said, well, BLM have a lot to do with that. BLM has got that ain't us. That's not us. That big. Look and see, there's a black man over there, and there's a black man way over there, and there's one right there in front of the camera, and then there's one way over there. Yep, that's Black Lives Matter right there. And nobody believed that. And then you dummies came up with, well, we gotta have something else now. What else can we throw at the wall? How about Q? How about QAnon, the QQs? And then they start talking about daggone Martians and aliens and spaceships and Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot was real. Yep, and WWE was real. Same people. Really? Yeah. Y'all needed an enemy real bad. So black people was it. Always your whooping boy, ain't it? We always your whooping boy. Seem like we the world's whooping boy, ain't we? No matter what country we go to, man, there's always some type of racism there against us. Now, I'm talking about every racist person I can think of, dagnabbit. And I'm about to say something about us, too. About the blind ones. The blind black people who selling us out like Trump sold out America to Putin. Now you got black folks selling us out for money, just like Trump sold us out for money. And now we're in this predicament because of that greedy mofo. We're in this situation. We're caught in the middle of that bull crap again. Now I hear you black people. I hear y'all saying, yeah, it's a white man's war. We ain't got no business in that. Let's mind our black business. Don't speak on it. Definitely, I heard some people say if they start drafting, dodge the draft. Run. That's right. Run off. Go to Canada. That's right. Let's say you do that. Run to Canada, go to Africa, go somewhere. And then it gets so bad that being that we're in a war with Russia, it's World War III now, y'all, right? So when that happens, then the nukes will drop. Then where you ran off to, it's just a matter of time before you get yours. Now, how you going to go out? How you going to go out? You going to go out like a champion? Or you going to go out like a little, not my fight. Well, I like to go out on my shield. We all going to go anyway. Yep. I'll be fighting just to last as long as I could, knowing that the end is going to be the end game for all of us. But I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of coming in just taking me like that. You don't get that. Right? Look like my Facebook done dropped off. But yeah, I won't give you that. So you got to earn. You got to earn it with me. You know what I mean? Until the final end, the big bomb drops. Until then, but I'm not going to run to Canada. I'm not running to Africa. I like to live in Africa one day, but you know, this is the only place I'm comfortable with. Really, I ain't even really that comfortable here because I got to worry about all this racism. But it's everywhere. The only continent that I say that is probably not is it's in Africa because of Africa has been, you know, there's a lot of white people there now, South Africa, and spread across the continent. And then there's China in there, and there's a lot of Chinese people that don't like blacks, and then there's English people that don't like blacks, and there's Ukrainians and Russians, they don't like black. You think about the Russians and China is doing a lot of business in Africa, so they're trying to actually get as much as that as they can because it's such a big place. And the people who are trying to get it, they don't like blacks either. They doing business with blacks because business and racism, you know, kind of different until they get what they want, you know, like they did the Indians, you know what I mean? You know, you do business with the Indians, you do the trade business, and the next thing you know it, you befriend them a little bit and start making some laws on their land. And it's like, hey, the Indians don't know about that. They just know about the natural laws of Mother Earth, and that's how they always been. And then you come along and make these rules, and then say they're violating, and then next thing you know, you're trying to war with them now and wipe them out. You know, because you hated them, you wanted their land, so you hated them. You got it. You know, you ran into Africa and you enslaved us. You just wanted us. You ain't want the land. You just wanted us. That's why the land is the way it is, I guess, because you don't stripped us from it. You know, we could have probably done a lot better if we stayed there. You know, but unfortunately, we're all over the world now. You know, and almost every country that I hear about, because I ain't never been nowhere, but from what I'm hearing, dagnabbit, there's a lot of racism in every country. Maybe not as much as here in the United States. And everybody's going to have to pay the piper at the end. Everybody. So you make your peace with God. If you don't believe in God, then God have mercy on your soul. That's all I would say about it. So if you want to be treated a certain way, don't you think it's wise to treat other people the way you want to be treated? And I say that every day at closing. Treat people like you want to be treated, and they'll come back around. You got to know that. I don't think you even have to speak the same language to know that. Karma's you know what? You bless people, that blessing come back around. You hate people, that hatred comes back round. That's so easy to look at it that way. Such an easy concept to understand. It's not that complicated. Not at all. And we all know who the author of hatred is. Been through that before. Ukraine got a lot of nerve. I'm upset. I'm upset with the Ukraine people who are racist against blacks. And the whole world should be upset. And we should speak and let it be known how we feel. We don't like that. We don't like it here, and we don't like it abroad. And if you treat somebody that way, then guess what? It's coming back to you. And Ukraine, you ain't in no position right now to tell your people to be racist against blacks, the black women and children. It's not even their fight. You have no right to say that. You're being unfair. Bottom line, you're being unfair. But you want to be treated fair when it comes to saving your country. You see how that works? You better start blessing people, even in a time of crisis. Because if you said women and children, dagnabbit, then that's what it should be across the board. Women and children, not just Ukraine women and children. This is where I want to call you out your name. I want to say some things that I know it ain't right to say, but I still pray for all of you. I'm going to pray for all of you Ukrainians that you change and not be so dagnabbit racist. And I'm praying for all my black brothers and sisters who just wanted to get an education in Ukraine. I'm praying for them to get out of that place safely, to get to Poland border for safety. Every one of them, every black face over there, I hope they can get out. I pray in the name of Jesus for them. And you Ukrainians, I pray that y'all change your nasty little attitude you done picked up about black folks. Change it in the midst of your crisis. Because however way you treat people, Putin's coming. The devil's on his way. The devil's on his way to unleash his devil crap on you. Yeah, y'all fighting violently. I mean, that's cool, right? But you're going to need more than just that. You're going to need some God to help you through this one. If you don't believe in God, then God bless your soul. But the way you treated our black women and children, that's unforgivable. Not by me. I ain't gonna, I'm not gonna feel like hunky-dory for you guys right now after seeing that. I don't feel good about that because we've been treated that way in this country. All of our born life here in this country. And any one of us that get a break in this country is for a purpose. They invest in us knowing that this is a conversation that I had with a friend earlier today. It made a whole lot of sense to me, and I'm going to share it with you. That this government, the system, the people running I'm going to say the government itself. I'll say the people running the government in the states, right? And they're deep-rooted racism. But they try to be crafty with it and implement it into business, but in a crafty way. They're racism. And one way to do it is to find a popular black person, black or brown individual. Invest in that black person who can draw millions and millions of people. Because these millions of people, they love him. They're following him. That means that one person is generating millions of dollars. Mind you, that one person is being sponsored by the ultimate $1 million maker. So they're going to pour that into that one person, knowing that that one person can pull millions and millions more. Subliminal, there you go, subliminal suggestion in music. Constant, over and over, repetitious. And when you say something over and over again, the millions of people who was following you will more than likely start acting in that way, because it's a slow form of brainwash. Yeah, in the subliminal mind. I'm still trying to get that word right. So I haven't said it in such a long time. Subliminal. If I say it too many times, it don't make sense. Right? And that subconscious. Let's make it easy. In your subconscious mind, when something is said over and over and over and over and over, Trump learned that. He'll make up a lie and just say it over and over again, and then he's got all of those 70 some odd million people saying the same thing the same way, over and over again. Brainwash. You take that one black person, you invest in that one black person that's pulling in millions, but you have to control that one black person. You have to let him know what the guidelines are that you can and cannot speak of, and spread out to those millions. Makes sense. This is the divide and conquer game they've been playing with that deep-rooted racism. But they got to master racism, pat them on the back, and give them money and make them think, we love you. We love you. Just keep doing the great job that you're doing. You're making millions. To reassure that they do not start speaking the truth about the plan that is created to divide and conquer us, because they are a big part of that plan, not realizing it, because they're blind by the money. Money over morals makes sense to me. And that's exactly the game Class 101 in divide and conquer. And they got a bunch of them. It ain't just one. Just imagine if you got 100, you got 100, let's say you got 1,000. What's going on here? Let's kill that. Let's say you got 1,000 people that are being followed by fans. And each 1,000 of those people have 1 million fans or 2 million fans. Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. But all the system has to do is control the top few. Make sure they understand your do's and your don'ts. Because if you cross that line, we'll take it all from you. We'll tear you down. We'll lock you up and destroy you. And all you had to do is just follow the program. That is divide and conquer at its best. And we don't see that because the money blinds you. The money, we've been needing money all our dagnabbit life. We've been needing money so bad. And then all of a sudden, we do something, we pick up a craft, and we can get that money. And by getting that money, you get these followers. Get all these people to pour into you because they like what you're doing. But big brother, the system is controlling you. That is the plan. Divide and conquer. This system, this concept need to be taught to each and every one of us every day, especially our young generation. Let it be more morals over money. May not get all the money on all the trinkets and the toys and the gold and the bling bling. You might not get all that, and the cars and if you only live one life, you might as well go for it. At the expense of selling out all of us. Don't get up there and start speaking some truth that's going to benefit each and every one of your followers. Don't do that. Because if you do, you're going down, buddy. We're going to snatch all of it back. And then we're going to lock you up and then trump up some charges to get you put up under the jail. Yeah. Fear of losing it all. You sell out your own people. That's a problem. Here in the United States, happens here. It's a practice here. Yeah. So I got on racist white people as usual. And I'm really upset. And I'm not really that much surprised at Ukraine. I just didn't think that they were about that, considering the situation they were in. The situation that they're being bullied and stomped out like Putin is doing to them. And then they still found room to actually treat other people in a racist way. That thing set me back. Like, what in the world? For real? But y'all said women and children. You didn't say just Ukrainian women and children. You said all women and children. That thing wow, okay. It changed my perception. So I'll share that with you. And I want y'all to share it with each other. More and more and more and more. Share it as much as you possibly can. If anybody can even hear me over there in Ukraine, continue the video and let us see what's really going on behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. Now, on the other side, they're saying they're not seeing any signs of racism. Wonder why? Maybe because really ain't no black folks getting over there yet. So everybody with white faces is okay. So they're not going to be complaining because they got out. And they get past that border, they're safe. But behind that, in Ukraine, they getting kicked off the train, getting not even being allowed to get on the train and get in the shelters. Let's say that. College students we're talking about. That's why they're there. College students are being treated this way. Black African college students. They have the gall, the nerve to be racist after what Putin is putting them through right now. What? Be upset, black people, brown people, everybody who understand the plight of the black man in this world. Be upset. Wherever you see racism, be upset. Don't quietly be upset. Speak out, say something. See something, say something. Ain't that what they say? Yeah. Okay, family, it's time to go. I ran past my time, but this was a good one. This was a good one. Actually, I feel like, it was a good choice to use Ruby Bridges, all right, as my Black Excellence today. And the topic that I had to use today was, is racism worldwide? And I have a tendency to answer that as a yes. Except for Africa. Maybe even in Africa, maybe they discriminate against the lighter skinned blacks versus the darker blacks. I don't know. They try to divide us that way between Libya and the rest of Africa. They looked at the Libyan people at the top of Africa and say that they have more intelligence because of the way they look, the skin tone, and their head shape. And then they start dividing us by talking negative about the blacks, the darker ones down in Africa, deeper into Africa. And they separated them too. So now the Libyans had walked around with, this privilege, like, yeah, they look at us and respect us, but they don't respect you because of the shade of your skin. Because our skin and our hair is different than yours. Yeah. Africans, all Africans. All right, on that note, y'all, that's just something to think about, right? Prove me wrong if you think you can. And on that note, Ruby Bridges, 67 years old, little 6-year-old girl back in 1960, was desegregated into an elementary all-white school, and they hated her for it. That little child. We love you for it, and we give you thanks, and we give you prayer and every good thing we could send your way. Thank you, little Miss Ruby. Thank you. And on that note, y'all, you know why I talked about this, right? Because I'm a grown damn man. That's why. Yeah. And on that note, treat people. Let me do it right for my YouTube. Treat people like you want to be treated, and it'll come back around. Karma, because it has for me. That's true. All right, fam? All right. Tell somebody you love them. Yeah. Don't matter who it is. Even if it's a Ukrainian, dagnabbit, that's going to be hard. But tell them you love them as a human being, which is, you should. And you ain't got to like their ways. But as a human being, you wish them well, and that they change for the better. Right? I say that about all our bad apples. Change, please. Change for the better for all of us. All right, y'all. I think I'm at the end of this one, and let me time this out just right. Somebody tried to call me on Facebook. Now what? I mean on YouTube. Now who in the world does that? All right, y'all. Ready? Peace. I love y'all. All right.